I think the most important thing about Lottery Ticket is that this is a film that Ice Cube produced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the most important because for a first-time director and for a screenwriter who did not have a lot of experience prior to this film, there's absolutely no way this film should have the caliber of the cast.
Okay, yeah, and that's Cube.
Like, and certainly the vast majority of the cast, whether we're talking about Ice Cube himself, whether we're talking about Mike Epps, whether we're talking about Keith David and Loretta Devine, you got the sense that they're kind of doing Ice Cube a solid.
Mm-hmm.
You got me for 2 scenes.
YUNKJunk!
Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I am joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble.
And this evening, as we finish up our summer 2K journey through July, we will spend time once again with Shad Lil Bow Wow Moss and Brandon T. Jackson in 2010's Lottery Ticket, brought to us by Lynn Webb. But before we get into the winning number.
Nice.
How are you this evening, Lynn?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Chilling, cold chilling, maxing, relaxing.
All right.
Yeah.
Shout out to each and every one of you watching us as we stream live from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace, to all points north, south, east, and west, which means Instagram, which means X, which means Facebook, and which means, of course, our home on YouTube.
Yes.
And to each and every one of you out there in the chat as we are streaming live, hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
All right, I know we're going to get right into the show because we got a nice crop of emails.
Ooh.
This past week,
like the back and forth.
Yes,
like
yes,
the back and forth.
An interesting back and forth, actually, that's coming your way in a little bit.
Okay.
But before we do, there's a couple of things we want to get out of the way, and first and foremost of them is if you are in the Philadelphia area, we hope to see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. at Bryn Mawr Film Institute, where Vincent and I, along with our good friend Stephanie Watt of the Be Real Black Cinema Club, will be taking part in part 3 of the Be Real Micheaux screening series as we sit down on the big screen for one night only with all of you to watch The Last Dragon with Timok, Vanity, and Julius Carey.
Show enough.
We cannot wait. It promises to be a great time. If you are still interested in coming to the screening, tickets are available at brynmarfilm.org. That's BRYN film, BRYN Mar, MAWR, film, FILM.org.
All right.
All right. So hopefully we'll see you there.
It's going to be a good time.
Most certainly. If you are, perhaps because you're out of town or for whatever other reason, unable to make it out to the screening, then perhaps Vincent and I can share a little bit of news for you because, as you know, we are huge geeks. And on Thursday, August 1st, Amazon Prime will be premiering the newest Batman animated series.
Yes, they are. Yes,
brought to you by Bruce Timm and Matt Reeves.
Yeah. Quite a team.
Bruce Timm, the executive producer and creator, or one of the creators of the Batman animated series from the 90s, and Matt Reeves, the director and writer of the most recent Batman movie from a couple of years ago. They are joining together to produce Batman Caped Crusader.
Yeah.
The new animated series, which will be premiering this week on Amazon Prime, and the Micheaux Mission, Vincent and I, we were fortunate enough to actually have the opportunity to take in the entire series just a couple of weeks ago. We were unable to even talk about this. But let me tell you, we are very excited about what is coming your way. Isn't that correct?
Very excited, very excited. If you are a fan of the original series, the classic series at this point, the 90s animated series, I think this is a good successor.
Most certainly.
This is a period piece.
Well, yes, because for those who were fans of the animated series from the 90s, while it did take place technically in present day, it was the style of it was meant purposefully to be very a mixture of present day, but old school aesthetics dating back into the 30s, 40s, and 50s to try and keep it from being too dated, as it were. And actually, that attempt was proved successful.
Sure. And then, of course, it always also reflected the quote unquote dark deco aesthetic from the Tim Burton films.
Most certainly.
Of the time, which much like that kind of had this timeless quality to them.
Right. This series is actually, as Vincent alluded to, a period piece.
Yeah.
This Batman series actually takes place back in the 40s.
Yeah, unapologetically.
Yeah. And as Bruce Timm has said, this is a series that features a Batman that is almost in his primordial state of development and maybe into like his first month of being Batman.
Yeah.
But outside of some of those aesthetics of Batman, which will be very familiar to you, and there will actually be some characters that are familiar to you, they have been reworked and tweaked a little bit. And in very interesting ways. But it still works.
Yeah.
It still works.
Yeah. It is the type of series that it's best that you know as little about it going in as possible. But it is well worth, if you are a fan of the animated series, and who wasn't a fan, it is well worth your time.
If you're a fan of Batman, you were a fan of that animated series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
so you said Thursday.
This Thursday, it will be available on Amazon Prime. It'll be 10 episodes in the first season. And I actually just confirmed today that all 10 episodes will be immediately available.
Nice.
For your streaming pleasure. Nice. So you'll be able to take it all in, just as Vincent and I did.
And it's been renewed for the second season already.
I believe it has been. Yes, I believe it has been. So, really excited. Really excited to hear from you, missionaries, that are our fellow Batman fans, to let us know. You can email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com or hit us up on all social media and let us know what you think of the new Batman, the Cape Crusader animated series that will be coming your way on Amazon on Thursday, August 1st.
Yes.
All right. Okie dokie. Let's get into things, Vincent.
All right.
Which means we're going to turn to your emails.
Very nice.
Or as we like to call them,
missives from the missionaries. So what else is going on, Len?
We have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Ooh. Missives from the missionaries.
Missives from the Missionaries. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an email from Michael Sykes.
Hey, Michael.
The subject line is bologna sandwiches, pigtails, and fried chicken.
Oh, okay.
Hello, Len and Vincent. Have you noticed how in the movie The Devil in a Blue Dress, the food scenes were some of the key scenes in the movie?
Yes. Absolutely.
When Denzel went to the club and he met Coretta and Dupree, you see his friend Odell eating fried chicken. That was when Denzel found out Coretta was friends with Daphne. Or how when Tom Sizemore's character surprised Denzel at his house making a bologna sandwich. That was Denzel's last straw, asking help from Don Cheadle, a.k.a. Mouse. Last but not least, when Don Cheadle and Denzel visit Dupree, Don Cheadle was eating pig's feet.
Yeah.
That was the scene when Denzel found them pictures. It's also common things black folks ate back during the Great Migration.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing how food was part of key scenes. Len and Vincent, y'all did an amazing job on that episode. P.S. This question is for Vincent.
Okay. All right.
Since you are a fan of Sanford and Son,
I am.
what are your thoughts on Sanford and Son season 3, episode 24? Hello, Cousin Emma. Goodbye, Cousin Emma.
Yeah, Cousin Emma.
The episode
Cousin
where
Emma.
Grady's freeloading cousin Emma came to stay with them.
That's
Love
right.
your fan, Michael Sykes. I remember that episode.
Yeah, played by an actress we've seen whose name that slips my mind, but she probably most famously plays Cliff's mother on The Cosby Show.
Oh, that's, you know what? I never put two and two together.
She sure is.
She sure is.
That episode is actually part of my argument that the much maligned non-Red Fox season of Sanford and Son is not that bad. Like, there are some good episodes, and that is one of the good episodes.
Clarice Taylor, that's
right, Cousin Emma. I'm going to make you a big breakfast.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you like pancakes?
I'm going to make you a big breakfast. And Grady said, ask how many times she's been on welfare. Go ahead, ask me. Only twice. Yeah, I love that episode.
That is a good episode. It's a fun episode. And I hear you about that season, the season where kind of like Grady takes Fred's place.
Yeah.
It's not that bad, but you definitely miss some of the edge.
Look, it's not as good.
Okay.
But to kind of, like, I think you 100% throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you watch it, like if you're a Sanford and Son watcher and you go, my brother just chimed in and he said when Lamont fought Lou Turner, one Lou Turner, it was JoJo Jackson. When he fought JoJo Jackson and he learned karate.
Yes, yeah. Oh, I remember that one.
It's actually the best physical humor that Damon Wilson does the entire
series.
Show.
Yes.
It's no orgies. No orgies is that season.
Oh, is it?
Where Grady keeps pulling a gun on him.
Yeah.
Because he says, no orgies.
No orgies in his house.
Yeah. That's a good episode.
Okay.
That's a good episode, Michael.
All right.
And not for nothing, so now we'll go highbrow. He mentioned the food in Devil in a Blue Dress. And that's something that Walter Mosley always does in his books. As Michael pointed out, that is shorthand a lot of times for the Southern roots of the black characters in the 50s, 60s Los Angeles. And food plays a prominent part in Walter Mosley's other character, Socrates Fortlow, I believe his name is, the always outnumbered, always outgunned character. So,
okay,
yay for food and Walter Mosley.
Are you familiar with the AMC theater? AMC movie channel, their television series Monsieur Spade?
I am not.
It stars Clive Owens as Sam Spade from the Dashiell Hammett novels, and it takes place is after the war, and he's moved to France.
Oh, I have heard about this. Yeah,
and it's an interesting series. I started watching it, and I ultimately lost interest in it, but because it was just moving a little bit too slow. But it's a beautiful series.
Yeah, and I love the concept.
It's an actual beautiful series. And
Listen to you, I'm just making sure I didn't get something wrong. Go ahead.
And actually thinking about it, when I heard that Clive Owens was playing Sam Spade, there's a part of me is like, Clive Owens as Sam Spade, but it works because it's an older Clive Owens, right? But I couldn't help, as I was watching it and watching how beautiful and lovely this was, and it's definitely, it's set in that period and it looks gorgeous. As I was watching, I was like, this this should be like easy.
Look, man.
This is what somebody needs to be doing with Easy Rollins.
Again and again, we
talk about it all the time, man.
All the time. And at some point, somebody's going to make an Easy Rollins show.
I know.
And there will be few people happier than me and you.
I know, man. The last time I thought about this was
probably the Perry Mason show on HBO.
You are my man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think we kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
Because it was clearly an Easy Rollins show.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could even just kind of shuffle the cast around.
Exactly.
And put my man in the lead.
In the lead, you got Easy Rollins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We got another email. This is from, we can't have one Michael write us and not the other. This is Michael Lockett.
All right.
Subject line, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey.
2 Sanford and Son emails.
Seems to be. Greetings, Len and Vince. Since you reference it from time to time, occasionally I find myself down a rabbit hole and thought I might share.
Okay.
When you mentioned Red Fox concerning Harlem Nights, I got the feels for my youth and Sanford and Son, as well as my dad's Red Fox albums.
Nice.
As I basked in the Red Fox glow, I watched Roll Bounce. I am not certain how many people inside or outside our culture realize how progressive Red Fox was in his thoughts, actions, and deeds during his time period. Roll Bounce would have been a great film for him to produce or have a cameo in. It's funny, true to the essence of the 70s and deals with real-ish in petty real ways. It was a great choice, and I am happy I finally watched it. On my time travels, I sadly had to fall into the time stream of Soul Plane. If Red Fox could have talked to the writer, director, and producers of Soul Plane, he might have easily dropped a "you dummy" on them. This movie was atrocious in every way except opening some doors for some and paying a whole lot of people of color. This film made me embarrassed that any black person had a role in putting this out there for general consumption. Red Fox, in my opinion, might have literally grabbed his heart and looked to the heavens if he had seen this ish. On a quick aside, it was mentioned to Len that at some point you two should switch roles on the show. It's a brilliant idea.
Oh, boy.
It instantly made me think of some of the great role reversal, bad guy being the hero films, and who might play in them if they were redone by us, with us starring. I would love both your thoughts on, say, Midnight Run. With Robert De Niro.
Yeah.
Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
Old Boy with Choi Min-sik. You saw the original Old Boy.
You know, I've never actually seen Old Boy. I look, talk about conversations we keep having. Look, at least once a year, it comes up that I haven't seen Old Boy. You have that face, which you justifiably should have that face. I feel embarrassed and small that I haven't seen it.
Okay.
And then I hope that the shame that I feel right now will prod me into finally watching it. But in an hour, I'm going to get distracted. And then the cycle begins anew.
You're being very generous with an hour. But I just want to hear Mr. Completus.
Yeah.
Please don't say that you have watched the Spike Lee version of Old Boy.
I haven't watched the Spike Lee version because I haven't seen the original.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I was going to cut you.
Oh, well, hopefully there's no violence, at least not so early in the show.
All right. Well, thank you for that email, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Appreciate you. I actually just watched Midnight Run again for like maybe the 20th time. I absolutely love.
Of course. You can't watch Midnight Run too much.
That movie is so good.
It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to see them cast in it, but what I realized, and at this point, I don't think it's a spoiler because it's been everywhere. Like they marched him out at Comic-Con. I didn't realize that I needed a buddy film with Wesley Snipes and Ryan Reynolds until this weekend.
Do you really? I don't know if I need a buddy film with those two. Because Ryan Reynolds, I like him, but he's a lot.
I told you, I got 45 minutes in me for Ryan Reynolds.
Okay.
But I really like the energy, especially now that Wesley is actually a little older.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I kind of like the energy.
Okay, fair enough. But don't you think that would basically be a redo of the energy that's on display in Deadpool Wolverine?
Yeah, but it was only on. They were only on screen. Like, they really only had banter for about 5 minutes.
But I'm saying
directly with each other. I could do an hour and 45 minutes of that.
I hear you, but I'm saying that banter, that level of banter, would be akin to the same thing you saw between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. So you're basically watching the same movie again.
As much as they acted, I think there was like that camaraderie is right under the surface. I think Wesley Snipes genuinely did not like him. Like, I know we've all, it was a 20-year joke and this, that, and the other. But I think Wesley Snipes genuinely did not like him. And now the power has shifted to the point where, now we got to pretend that we didn't that
we didn't like each other.
Right. Like, both of them told us, you're going to believe us or you're lying eyes.
Okay, fair enough. Even though I want to believe that while he didn't like Ryan Reynolds,
and a lot of it was just it was the situation
and what he represented of that situation.
And I 100% agree with you, but I also think that Ryan Reynolds doesn't really help his case.
Fair enough. Even though, what do we know? He made $211 million this year.
I mean, look, man.
In a movie that we both admittedly saw. We saw it. We saw it, ladies and gentlemen. We saw it.
Look, man. I bet everybody is in quite the good mood. I bet they are. I bet everybody is a friend now.
Yeah. And it's an entertaining movie. But the only way that I could see your premise working with the two of them is if... You'll have to help me on this.
Ruth Buzzy.
No. What was the Batman series, the last Batman series that Scott Snyder did? It was a separate piece where Batman is walking around with Joker's head.
Oh, The Last Night.
The Last Night. The only way that works, if Wesley Snipes, again, as Blade, because as he told you in Deadpool Wolverine, there is only one Blade.
Which, sidebar, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put a very modest $5 down. It would not surprise me if the Mahershala Ali Blade falls apart and they actually bring Wesley Snipes in. I'm not going to bet a lot of money.
Okay.
But I'm a bet $5. Watch this space.
Okay. Fair enough. I could actually see them bringing him in, but not necessarily the project falling apart, because I think Mahershala Ali really wants to do it. And I think with them having the opportunity to do it with Wesley Snipes would make him even want to do it more.
I think he wanted to do it, but I think over the past year, I would suspect maybe things have changed a bit.
No, you're right. But I think Wesley Snipes might restoke the fire in him.
So do you see two Blades or...
You see them figuring out something.
Like two Blades? All right.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, let's
the only way
to get off of this.
Just to finish the thought, the only way I see that working is if Wesley Snipes as Blade is on some, walk, and he's got the head.
He's got the head of Deadpool.
The head of Deadpool.
Talking. Okay, yeah, sure.
That's the only way I see it working.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
All right. So we got another email.
Okay.
This is from Corey P.
What's up, Corey?
The subject line: The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is what the Cosby Show could have been.
Okay.
Hi, Len and Vincent. If you guys happen to run out of ideas to base your months on, I would say, since you guys spoke about Black movie remakes, I think it would be fitting to do a month of Black movie remakes like The Color Purple, House Party, and even White Men Can't Jump. Another suggestion is a month discussing movies from across the pond, our Black British brothers and sisters. Okay, the remakes thing, I don't know.
Good ideas.
Good ideas.
Good ideas.
What I'm about to say regarding the subject line will probably ruffle some feathers.
Ruffle.
Oh, I love ruffling feathers.
That's right.
The Cosby Show could have been a show that stood the test of time, like The Fresh Prince, but it does not. The Cosby Show, in my opinion, does not hold up even with all the controversy. I always felt like The Cosby Show was of its time period, and it just feels dated. But something I noticed The Cosby Show lacked was portraying the Black experience in a realistic way. The Fresh Prince had two characters, Will and Carlton, who represented different Black experiences. Will from the street, suave ladies' man who loved all things hip-hop, while Carlton was a Black nerd that loved Tom Jones and Bryant Gumbel. The Cosby Show, to me, did not take the risks the Fresh Prince did, like racial profiling and defining Blackness. I also noticed Black people over the age of 50 will defend The Cosby Show like their life depends on it. I suggest reading The Fresh Prince Project by Chris Palmer. Sorry for the late email. I am glad you both are finally reviewing Lottery Ticket, as it may be my favorite Bow Wow and Brandon T. Jackson movie. I didn't realize that was a genre. Cannot wait to listen to the episode from a fellow missionary. Corey, what do you think about this ruffling of feathers in regards to The Cosby Show vis-a-vis versus The Fresh Prince?
I think it is a conversation that, quite honestly, you can't even begin to have. Like, this is damn near a binge lounge. I will say I disagree. I am over 50 though, so maybe I'm who he's talking about. But I do disagree. I think it is. This is what I will say. This is what I will say about The Cosby Show, and then we can move on, because again, I think this is a huge conversation. I think pound for pound, there has never been another sitcom with a bench as deep as The Cosby Show.
And by bench, I
mean you have the primary cast,
okay,
and then the supporting characters, how it goes out in concentric circles. I think pound for pound, when you look at the bench, whether
of
characters, whether you're talking about Carl Payne for the couple of years that he was on, whether you're talking about Theo's crew when he was in college, including the dearly departed Michelle Thomas, whether you're talking about Olivia, Raven Simone, because I count her as a bench character because she's outside of the initial five. Whether you're talking about I just lost the grandparents. We just mentioned
Clarice Taylor,
and the actor who played Russell, whose name I forgot, who was a well-regarded stage actor.
Yeah,
I think for a show that was on as long as it was, much like I just said about Sanford and Son, when you watch the episodes from that season, I think there is much more gold in the later episodes than we give it credit for as a sitcom. And I think part of the challenge that The Cosby Show has had, and I think Corey alludes to it, is that we spend so much time talking about it as a cultural phenomenon, as this sort of reflection of the moment. And then now with everything that we know about Bill Cosby, the shadow that has put over the entire show, that we don't spend as much time talking about the show as a show.
Okay.
And I'll say that. And then I'm actually going to pull Micheaux privilege, and I'm going to cut the conversation off, because this is very much a long conversation.
I only just want to ask one question. When you say show and it's deep bench,
yes.
As far I know, your caveat was in the world of sitcoms. Were you talking about sitcoms in general or just Black sitcoms?
Generally the bench. Like I think we can make arguments about the primary cast of Taxi versus the primary cast of The Cosby Show, the primary cast of WKRP in Cincinnati versus the primary cast of The Cosby Show. But like a lot of these shows, they're on for however many years. Once you get to certain seasons, you fool around and you get the Cousin Oliver effect.
Okay.
Where the primary cast, half of them aren't on this episode. Half of them show up and they're just sort of phoning it in because now I'm rich and this, that, and the other. And I think once you get to the fourth and fifth, we didn't even mention Erica Alexander. Right. Erica Alexander shows up, and then, with her and Alan Payne and how that revitalizes it a bit. So that's what I'm, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I disagree with you, but we're not.
Who has a better bench? Again, the bench.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah. I would say off the top of my head, and one you may not count as a sitcom, but I do. But off the top of my head, I would say Frasier. I would say
no. Stick with Frasier. Once you move that cast, David, what's his name, and
David Allen, not David, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Once you move that cast off, who are you talking about?
You're talking about like the rest of the people in the radio station who sometimes they would build up whole episodes around.
Who?
There was there was Kenny, the station manager. There was there was Bulldog, the sports guy. There was the wine and spirits guy who, you didn't know whether or not he was homosexual or not. There was the one guy who had a lust on for Roz. There was a black guy who was Frasier's rival in his home, who had a house just like.
How many times was he on Frasier? Twice?
No, he was on there more than a couple of times.
He was not
because his mother actually had a relationship with Frasier's father.
Yes, that's one of the times he was on.
Okay, but you said bench, which means characters outside of.
No. I'm not talking about people that just showed up once or twice. I mean people who were like
that were like regulars.
Right, like by the last season there were episodes with like the grandparents and the grandkids. I mean, really the nature of Frasier, the bench isn't going to be as big as the Cosby Show. Because the Cosby Show's got 5 kids, each of the kids had their own circle. And then you had four in-laws and then people are marrying in. And
okay, well, all right.
Besides Frasier.
If you want to argue for Frasier, all right. Feel free to argue Frasier. But I'm off the top of my head, am saying Frasier.
Okay.
I would also say, and I'm not sure if you said this show in your little rundown, Cheers.
Cheers. What was the bench in Cheers? You had
Well, I mean, Frasier came in and became a regular.
No.
But that was off the bench.
No. Frasier, one character. Yes, Frasier was a great coming off the bench character.
Frasier came in and became a regular off the bench.
Yes.
Lilith came in off the bench, became a regular.
Frasier,
and then
Lilith.
there was Paul, who never became a regular, but more or less was a regular on the show.
You just named 3 people.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. All I'm doing is making an argument off the top of my head.
Right.
Could we discuss this?
Yes.
And my last one, and this is one that I can tell you're gonna cry foul on as well.
Who?
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons is a good one. The Simpsons is actually The Simpsons. I will actually listen to that argument.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Because in thinking of The Simpsons, I think you could also say the same thing about Futurama, but I didn't know how you felt about the animated sitcoms.
I think that's a good argument.
But definitely The Simpsons.
I think The Simpsons is the best argument than them 3 people on Frasier. But The Simpsons is a good one.
All right.
But, yes.
All right. Very, very well. Continuing on.
Mm-hmm.
We have an email from Ellis Heron.
What's up, Ellis?
A good friend from Fort Worth. Hey, fellas. I love how deep y'all got on your review of Roll Bounce.
Yes.
You touched on not only the plot, but also topics of discussion with the era and on what actors of note brought to the movie. With Brandon T. Jackson, this was his coming out party in Black Hollywood. However, in your opinion, do you think he was stealing scenes or was he chewing the scenery? Interesting. Stick a pin in that for our review tonight of Lottery Ticket. As for my girl, Megan Good, was it just me or was her part a bit awkward? Just 2 years prior, she played a grown woman in Deliver Us from Eva, but here she's playing a teenage love interest. I'll give her credit, though, for showcasing her range since the year prior, she played a complete opposite character as the self-absorbed beautiful in You Got Served. Finally, the story of how Wesley Jonathan got his role as Sweetness is fascinating. He explained in interviews how he fought for that role regardless of the smaller paycheck and minimal lines. He knew the character had to be scary, sexy, and mysterious. In the end, it all paid off. Out of all his movies, he's most recognized for this character. And I actually thought that he did more films. He actually didn't do a lot of work after that.
It is one of the great tragedies of Black Hollywood that he hasn't worked more.
Ellis continues, I do have to apologize for not being specific about my box office prediction last week. I meant to say I bet Deadpool and Wolverine's opening domestic total would be 200 million or more. Len, you were right the first time when you said Inside Out 2 made around 150 million opening weekend. As for the final numbers, Deadpool made 211 and 433 million worldwide. Your boy Ellis Heron from Fort Worth. I know. P.S. I really hope you get Van Lathan back on your show. He lends his own unique style and flavor of movie insight to any show he's a guest on. Van Lathan, who is on the part of the Ringer podcast network. And we are making attempts to try and reach out to Van Lathan to see if he would be interested in coming on the show. He's somebody who is on my my whiteboard to connect with. So thank you, Ellis. All right. So that was Ellis.
Thank you, Ellis. Was there a question in there?
It was not really a question.
Okay. Well, thank you, Ellis. Always good to hear from Ellis.
And our last email is from Patrice Heron.
Okay.
Dear Len and Vincent, my husband, your boy Ellis.
Yes.
And I listen to your podcast together on occasion.
Oh, that's nice. Hi, Patrice.
I guess you could say he's converted me to a missionary.
Excellent.
We listened to your review on Roll Bounce. This one was one of my favorites. Okay. Your take on Megan Good was spot on, as in the mid-2000s, it seemed to be all about the Megans, Good and Fox. One thing I gotta express is I disagree about the remark made about a remake or reboot to set it off. I think that would be amazing, as we do have some dope ladies like Keke Palmer, Tiana Taylor, and Tessa Thompson that would be good, as well as Breeze from All American. Let me know what you think, Patrice. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, because it's Patrice.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, that's nice they listen together.
I know.
That is nice.
So happy together.
Look, I'm never going to push back that hard against Waiting to Exhale / Set It Off / Girlfriend setup, where 4 Black women can be together bouncing off of each other. So yeah, that's and I like all the actresses that she named.
I love all the actresses that she names.
Let's go rob some banks.
Yes, and could they do a set off remake? Certainly, but I would just as soon as love to see them in their own vehicle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I would just as soon as love to see them in their own vehicle, because as good as Set It Off is, and it's a very good movie, you could do it better. I mean, you could do it as a straight up heist film.
Yeah.
That has maybe a little bit more of an upbeat vibe. Because Set It Off is a bit of a downer.
Set It Off is a little,
You know?
Yeah, it is. It quietly is.
It is.
It's sort of like life, where if you think about it for longer than 5 minutes, it's like, this is pretty dark, actually. Yeah. Set It Off is, love Set It Off. And I think we said it when we reviewed it. The thing I love about Set It Off is that so many things happen that don't actually make that much sense. Mm-hmm. You're just trying to get these 4 actresses in the room together.
Right.
So, but yeah. Thank you, Patrice.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. All right, that is our emails, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. That is our email, Missionaries.
That's right.
It's a work in progress.
Hey, man, aren't we all?
Yes, we are. So if you have your thoughts that you want to share with us, please feel free to email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. All right?
All right.
And before we move on, 2 things. One, I want to let you all know, if you're not aware, that this episode of the Micheaux Mission is brought to you by BetterHelp. And if you're thinking of getting therapy or, interested in just learning a little bit more about therapy, give BetterHelp a try. That's help, HELP. And go to betterhelp.com/MM for 10% off of your first month. That's betterhelp.com/MM in the promo code. All right. And the other thing that I want to say is that I just want to make an announcement. If you will allow me to just make one quick announcement.
Okay.
I am a very, very happy person. I think about my life and I don't really have any huge problems going on right now. Everybody's got stuff. Everybody's got their stuff. I don't have any huge problems going on. I wake up and I am generally most days in a fantastic, happy mood. My daughter is doing very well. My second grandson is on his way, going to be due in November.
Congratulations.
Yes, due in November. I'm looking very forward.
Them November babies.
I know. My family's doing well. And since July of last year, I have been in an absolutely euphoric state because of my personal life. And that's all I want to say. And I want to say to each and every one of you out there that I appreciate coming here every Tuesday and sharing the stage with you, bugging out with Dylan, and speaking to all of you missionaries, because you are part of the happiness that I am feeling in my life. So thank you.
Oh,
all right. Let's move on.
Okay.
To the top 5.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is. My top 5 is.
We're going to be getting into the top 5 missionaries. And we're going to be focusing, as we have been doing all throughout the summer 2K month of July, on what happened in the year of our film. We're going to be reviewing Lottery Ticket, which came out in 2010. Mm-hmm. So we're going to find out what happened in 2010. All right. Before we dig into the top 5, Vincent, you told me to go to this first before we do the top 5. So I'm doing this first. Who did we lose in 2010?
Yes. Who did we lose?
Because we lost quite a number.
Yeah.
And quite some significant names in 2010.
Yeah.
Starting with a name that is unfortunately not as familiar with people as it should be, but I'm sure you are aware of this name, Vincent. James Solomon McDonald, better known as Solomon Burke. The American singer who shaped the sound of rhythm and blues in the 60s. Mm-hmm. He called a key transitional figure, bridging R&B and soul, and was known for his prodigious output His hits include Cry to Me, If You Need Me, Got to Get You Off My Mind, Down in the Valley, and Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. Solomon Burke passed away in 2010, born in Philadelphia back in March of 1940.
Interesting. I would have assumed he was a Southern boy.
Yeah, right.
You just taught me something.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Solomon Burke. And had a bit of a resurgence.
A little bit.
Before he passed.
People kind of like rediscovered him.
I was really happy for him. Yeah.
Also leaving us in 2010, born in Southern Kingstree, South Carolina.
Okay.
But made his mark in Philadelphia, leaving us at the sweet, tender age of 59 years old. One Teddy Pendergrass.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That was a tough one.
That was a tough one.
Teddy Pendergrass, who made his mark in music as the lead singer of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes before going solo and having a huge solo career.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my God. Teddy Pendergrass was amazing. I've never watched him. I never saw him live. But Showtime did a documentary on Teddy a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
That I watched. And I always knew about the Teddy phenomenon. Like, he was a soul man, his music. And I loved him because he felt like, I love R&B, but I love R&B where it sounds like a person is singing songs that they mean.
Yes.
Like they mean the words.
Yeah.
And Teddy Pendergrass, he sounded like he meant everything he said.
He did.
So yes, did he want to get the women to throw their clothes up on the stage?
Yes.
Yes. And he did.
Yes.
But when he also wanted to make you cry, when he also wanted to, bleed his heart out to you, he did, and it sounds so authentic, so real. It's some of my favorite songs of all time by Teddy Pendergrass. Songs. And in that documentary, and I'm drawing a blank on the actual song, but it's a Beatles song that he sang live at a concert in London. And this is the only footage of it because he sang it not long before his car accident,
the infamous
which
car accident,
paralyzed him for the remaining for a good part of his life.
Yeah.
But it was so amazing. It was absolutely breathtaking to watch him perform this song and to watch him perform on stage. He was a hell of a man.
The masterful just stage presence.
Did you ever see him live?
No. I mean, no. Like,
Yeah, because
we're actually too young to have really seen him live.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, the voice, the stage presence, incredible looking guy. Like he really did have the whole package.
I know. Yeah, he did. I mean, and he had the car accident happened in 1982. Yeah. So like right at that, like
right at the height.
He was right there.
Right. You live here in Philadelphia. Many of us, and I am certainly one of us, are on the infamous Lincoln Drive every day.
Yep. Yeah, which is where it's actually.
Which is where that. So yeah. Oh yeah. That was a shame.
Yeah. Also leaving us in 2010, the basketball star who also had a Philadelphia connection because for a short time, a couple of seasons, he played for the Philadelphia 76ers. Manute Bol.
Okay.
Famously 7 foot. I think he was like 7'7".
Yeah. Tall guy.
Yeah. Whose son.
That's my contribution. 7 feet 7 inches. That's pretty tall. I've now contributed to the sports conversation. Whoa, let me go get a bottle of water.
Yo, I hate you. Famously from the
You just said you love me. What the hell, man?
It comes and goes.
I was about to say, it's an emotional roller coaster in here.
Manute Bol, born in the Sudan, 7'7". Played in the NBA from 1985 to 1997. He actually played, I thought he played here. Yeah, he played here from 1990 to 1993 for the Philadelphia 76ers. At 7'7", mostly known for his defense. Once a year, he'd hit a three-pointer.
Sure.
But from all intents and purposes, from all accounts, a hell of a man.
Okay.
And a man who used the riches that he made in the NBA and took it back home to the Sudan.
Excellent.
And was like, he was notable for his efforts to promote human rights in his native Sudan and aid for Sudanese refugees. His son now plays in the NBA.
Oh, nice.
Bol is his name.
Okay.
So we lost him in 2010.
Okay.
We also lost this from the world of reggae music, Gregory Isaacs.
Yeah.
We lost in 2010. Milo Miles of the New York Times described Isaacs as the most exquisite vocalist in reggae.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a name that we lost. Your girl, Vanetta McGee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Famously, we have covered her here on the Micheaux Mission for her role in Thomasine and Bushrod. And she'll be returning to
Scream Blackula Scream.
And Scream Blackula Scream. And she'll also be returning to the mission in August as she has a role in Hammer. But she passed away in July of 2010.
Shame.
Also, dipping back into the 70s TV grab bag, Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
Of the child TV star of the 70s and early 80s of Different Strokes fame, passed away in 2010.
Yeah, sad.
And then the final and, person that we lost in 2010, but who had a magnificent career, Lena Horne.
The Horn.
The Horn. Passed away in 2010.
Oh, that was a tough year.
Tough year, right?
That was a tough year.
Like, I was trying to nail it down to 3, and I just kept, I was like,
I was about to say, yeah.
I got it. Right?
Well, yeah, I'm glad you started with that. So now let's actually, and hopefully it'll be a bit more uplifting.
It will be uplifting as we go through the top 5 happenings in culture and Black culture in 2010.
Okay.
Starting with number 5, Great Beginnings, 2010. In October of 2010, Instagram is found.
All right.
Before October of 2010, the only way that you could flex your photos digitally was through the Facebook photo album.
Okay.
Or, do you remember this? Photo Bucket.
I do.
You remember Photo Bucket?
Yeah.
But then Instagram took it all away and just ate it up.
All right.
So Instagram started in October of 2010.
1,000 fake lifestyles were launched.
That's very true. Going back earlier in the year, in March of 2010, President Barack Obama signed the Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
So we all got, access to health care.
Yeah.
Almost all of America for the first time.
For the first time.
Everybody had access to health care.
Look.
What they're trying to take away.
Yeah.
But they've been trying to take it away ever since.
Right.
The Republicans, for no reason, just because they didn't do it. In January.
Wait, are these, is this still number 1?
This is still number 5.
No, this is still, okay.
It's still number 5.
Okay.
Great Beginnings. So these are things that began in 2010.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
And also starting in 2010, on January 2010, Steve Jobs announced the Apple iPad.
Love
the company's most advanced piece of technology at the time. There you go.
Don't do no free advertising for Apple because they certainly can afford to advertise, but it was a game changer.
Big time.
I think the tablet is a game changer. So,
most definitely.
An iPad is certainly the tablet.
Yeah. All right. Number 4 thing happened in 2010. Hide your kids, hide your wife. When Antoine Dotson spoke to a local TV station about saving his sister from an attacker in their home, the segment went viral. Partially because of how angry he was, but also because he gave it the iconic line, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they're raping everybody out there.
Everybody out here. That's right.
The interview grew so popular that the Gregory brothers remixed it, and you bet the Bed Intruder song hit the Billboard Hot 100 chart.
It was a catchy song.
Was it really that catchy?
It was pretty catchy.
I don't know. Your mileage may vary on exactly how, catchy it was.
Yeah. But there he is.
He's climbing in your windows, he's snatching your people up, trying to rape them, so y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your...
Hold up. You got to rewind that, Dylan.
He's climbing in your windows, he's snatching your people up, trying to rape them, so y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your...
I don't know how catchy that is. You say that's catchy.
You ever see some things that happened in the past and you're just like, I don't even believe that happened.
You can't believe that happened, can
Yeah,
you?
but no, that did happen.
That was the thing. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yeah. It was amazing that you remember that.
I'm not a fan of the black spectacle, so the fact that it was catchy enough for me to overlook that, I thought it was kind of catchy.
Okay.
But
all right. Number three. Happening in black culture in 2010. Football goes worldwide when South Africa, for the first time, hosts the Football World Cup Finals. The first time that the tournament was held in Africa. Campaigning for South Africa to be granted host status, Nelson Mandela had previously spoken of the importance of football, aka soccer, in his life, stating that while incarcerated in Robben Island prison, playing football, quote, made us feel alive and triumphant despite the situation we found ourselves in. With South Africa winning the bid, an emotional Mandela raised the FIFA World Cup trophy.
I remember this.
Yeah, I remember.
I actually really remember. Yeah, I remember this. I'm not a sports person, but I do watch the World Cup. So I remember that. That was huge.
And that was really big.
Yeah, it was really big.
And I remember it being big because it was to me the culmination of the changing of the narrative of South Africa.
Exactly.
That the release and election of Nelson Mandela created.
I agree.
Right?
I absolutely agree. And I'll just add to that. I'm so happy that Nelson Mandela lived long enough to get these type of flowers.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, that was huge.
To get these type of flowers and also to be able to bestow flowers onto his people as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, absolutely. I really appreciated that. Also in 2010, an anthem is born.
Okay.
Because the song of the year, Single Ladies, Put a Ring on It by Beyonce, ruled the airwaves and dance floors in 2010, winning her the Grammy Award for Song of the Year. And I will contend this song, which is now, 14 or 15 years old, is still very much an anthem, will still bring everybody to the dance floor, certainly all of the women.
I mean,
it will still make them put their rings up when they hear it, no matter where they are.
I mean, if you've been to a wedding reception since then, like just the, I don't know if you have to pay residuals to play something at a wedding, but
no, you don't.
Just the amount of times that you hear it at wedding receptions when it's time to throw the bouquet. Yeah. Look, man.
But okay, but that's a wedding reception. But I contend this song has become an anthem.
Sure, absolutely.
Like this is like a mantra for some people.
Look, yeah, absolutely.
the 2000s was the Beyonce's decade.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Also, Manute Bol was quite tall. This has been Commentary with Vincent and Len.
And the number one thing to happen in Black culture and pop culture in 2010, and this one, Vincent is really going to enjoy.
Okay.
And I'm sure many of our missionaries will enjoy this because February 5th of 2010, Epic Records released Soldier of Love.
Oh my God. Has
the
it been
sixth
15
studio
years?
album by the English band Sade.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Following the release of Lovers Rock in 2008, the band went into a 10-year hiatus. Sade was back. It debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 with first week sales of 502,000 copies in the United States, making Sade's first number 1 debut on the chart in 25 years. Upon its release, Soldier of Love received generally positive reviews from most critics and won a Grammy Award for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocals. The band promoted the album with their first concert tour in 10 years, Sade Live. Since then, they have only released 2 songs since then. Flower of the Universe from the soundtrack of A Wrinkle in Time and The Big Unknown, part of the soundtrack of Steve McQueen's film Widows.
Yeah. Sade. Queen right there. That's queen right there. My wife teases me, says she's the queen of middle-aged Black men. And I say, yeah, well, look. And she I
Need a minute?
Look, man, look. If Sade never makes another album, it will make me sad. But well done, my good and faithful servant.
All right.
All right.
Well, that is 2010.
All right.
That is what happened in 2010.
All right.
All right.
Power-packed year.
A very power-packed year. Okay.
All right.
And now it is time for the Game of Kings.
The Game of Kings.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. Six Degrees of D'Urville Martin, ladies and gentlemen. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, missionaries, where I give Vincent 2 actors and he has 6 films or less to connect them to D'Urville Martin, that effervescent star of the 70s.
He also gives us the sweetest taboo. It's a quiet storm, and I've never felt like this before. It's a quiet storm, and I think it's you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Keep it in theme. We are going to be reviewing Lottery Ticket from 2010. These 2 actors, Vincent, were stars in the 2 box office leaders of 2010.
Okay. All right.
So, and in keeping in that, you cannot use the films of which they are the star of.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Or they may not be the star, but they were in the film.
Okay.
Okay. So, number 1.
Number 1.
From the film Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton film, that I was not aware, grossed worldwide domestically $1 billion.
Look, I think Tim Burton movies make money.
No, they act well. Okay, maybe this might have been the last one.
But okay, who
in 6 films or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Michael Sheen. Can you see that Michael Sheen? Can you bring him in your head?
The bad thing is the only reason I know him is from Good Omens.
Oh, he's been in more than a few films outside of
I have no idea what he's been in.
Looking to see.
I didn't even know he was in Alice. I mean, quite honestly, the only person I knew who was in Alice in Wonderland was
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
You could have guessed another one. But he's been in quite a number of films.
Anything I'd recognize?
That you'd recognize? Yeah, because I don't think you've seen these. He was in Frost Nixon.
Okay, so Frost Nixon. Oh, right, because did he play David Frost?
Yes.
Right, who played Nixon?
That would be Dracula. Frank Langella.
Can I work with Frank Langella? Okay. This is how I'm going to get to him then. Dervo Martin. Dervo Martin is in Dolomite with Rudy Ray Moore. Rudy Ray Moore is in Penitentiary 2 with Mr. T.
Mm-hmm.
Rudy Ray Moore, Mr. T. Mr. T is in Rocky 3 with, let's say Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone is in Rocky 4 with Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren is in Masters of the Universe with Frank Langella. Does Frank Langella play Skeletor?
Is it Frank Langella?
Is that Frank Langella that plays Skeletor? I'm really reaching, so it might not, but I thought Frank Langella played Skeletor in Masters of the Universe.
Let me find out. Hold on. I will let you know. Frank Langella is, and I'm not looking at over there, ladies and gentlemen. Let's.
Who plays Skeletor in Masters of the Universe?
If this is not his whole, that was theater.
Why don't you just look up Masters of the Universe? He should be like the second on the bill.
Well, it was easy for me to get to his name. Okay. Yes, he is Skeletor.
Okay. And Frank Langella is in Frost Nixon with Michael Sheen.
Very good, Vincent.
Woo! Not oftentimes you get to talk about Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren. How you like that, Len? How you like that one?
I could have done without it, but very good. He's actually, but going back to Michael Sheen, he's been in a few movies. He was in the Twilight films.
Yeah, I never would have pulled him out of that.
He played Lucian in Underworld, Rise of the Lycans.
Yeah.
He was in Blood Diamond. He was in The Queen.
Oh, I didn't see The Queen.
Yeah, because he plays Tony Blair.
Sure, why not?
All right.
I know he's 100% fair game.
Yeah.
But he definitely has a career that would run parallel with something that I would have watched.
And this is
I did want to see Frost Nixon.
And this is a movie you saw.
Okay.
He was in Othello.
With
Lawrence
Fishburne?
Yep.
Who did he play?
He plays I'm going to mispronounce his name, but he comes in at the end from Spain. Lovicchio.
Okay. All right.
He's the person that comes in at the end from Spain.
Yeah.
That's who he plays.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. He's sort of an actor's actor.
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right.
That's a good one.
Number two.
All right.
One of the stars of Toy Story 3 from 2010.
Oh, okay.
Another film that made $1 billion.
Look, man, them Toy Stories just printing money at this point.
I know. And 6 films or less. And this is a person I think we actually have done before. Connect Derville Martin to Joan Cusack.
Oh, we haven't done Joan Cusack at all.
We did? I thought we had done
No,
her
we haven't
before.
done Joan Cusack at all. Because I'm super excited because Joan Cusack is in 3 of my favorite movies of all time.
Really?
Yeah, because she's always making movies with her brother, John.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in High Fidelity. She's in Say Anything. And she's in Grosse Point Blank.
Oh, that's right. She is in Grosse Point Blank.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She's not in Better Off Dead, which is my favorite of the teen movies, but it seems like she should have been. Oh, yeah, yeah. Joan Cusack. Yeah, like I like her.
I do, too.
I like her, but I love John Cusack. Like I said, those films I just rattled off are some of my favorite films ever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's see. I'm like, okay, I know what I'll do because I don't know how often I'll be able to use Lisa Bonet. Derville Martin is in Hitman. No, Derville Martin is in Sheba Baby with Pam Grier. Pam Grier is in Hitman with Bernie Casey. Bernie Casey is in Cornbread Earl and Me with Lawrence Fishburne. Lawrence Fishburne is in Biker Boys, a ridiculously entertaining film that I cannot believe I haven't chosen because Biker Boys entertains me to no end. And in a just world, Biker Boys would have had as many sequels as The Fast and the Furious.
I'm sure that was the idea.
He's in Biker Boys with Lisa Bonet.
They wrote Lisa Bonet for that?
Yeah, Lisa Bonet is in Biker Boys.
I've never seen the film.
Oh, I know, because I can tell by your face. You were doubting, and I said, yeah, Lynn has never seen the joy that is Biker Boys. And then Lisa Bonet is in High Fidelity with Joan Cusack.
Very good.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Have you've seen Grosse Point Blank?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
love Grosse Point Blank.
Very good film.
You think it's a sequel to Say Anything? You heard that theory?
I've heard that theory that he went off and became
well, his father's threatening him the whole movie.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be.
Yeah, I like to think that it is.
It could be.
Yeah.
No, it is a good film.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a big John Cusack fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well,
All
very
right.
good, Vincent.
Oh, yeah. We say in my house all the time, $2. $2. You owe me $2.
I have fun at your house.
It's a fun house. It's a fun house, but it's also a fun house. Yes.
All right. That's
All
6
right.
degrees of Derville Martin Missionaries.
All right. My brother said Kadeem Hardison has an eye patch in Biker Boys. And also, he's in a wheelchair. Ask me why he's in a wheelchair, Lynn.
Why is he?
Biker Boys. Derek Lute starts his own motorcycle gang with Spanish from Old School and also Roll Bounce. Biker Boys.
Well.
Vanessa Bell Calloway has on some real tight leather pants.
Oh my God.
Biker Boys.
Well, now I may watch it. You say less. All right. Well,
oh boy.
I look forward to the day when you choose Biker Boys.
Biker Boys is a good time.
Okay.
It's a good time.
We'll just have to find the right time for Biker
Right.
Boys.
Kid Rock plays a not racist biker at all. Completely. They're definitely not racist.
Boy.
Biker Boys.
Kid Rock, Lisa Bonet.
Oh. It's quite a cast.
Oh, boy.
Eric LaSalle gets hit by a flying motorcycle.
Eric LaSalle is in it.
Only for like a minute. Spoiler. Biker Boys. I'm sorry. I do love Biker Boys.
I see. I
do
said, I
love
did not know this would be a trigger for you.
Oh, Biker Boys is fantastic. And Megan Good. Megan Good is in Biker Boys.
Everybody get a check?
Lynn, It's like a mad world for black actors in the early 90s. Like everybody is in it.
Now I want to see Biker Boys.
Now we got to do Biker Boys.
Now we have to do Biker Boys.
Do Biker Boys.
I may have to change one of my movies for August and make it Biker Boys.
You see Biker Boys. No, I'm going to do Biker Boys because you're going to be a hater. So I'm going to deliver Biker Boys.
First of all, you think that'll stop me?
All right.
Like, here, bikers. You always go dark. It is now time for our review of Lottery Ticket.
I just wanted to look up the writer real quick.
Oh. You swipe past your Biker Boys wallpaper on your iPad.
Oh, boy.
Who's the mom in Biker Boys?
Oh, it's Vanessa Bell.
That's Vanessa Bell.
She's Derek Luke's mom.
Derek Luke's mom?
Yeah.
What year is Biker Boys?
2000 something.
So that would be a young Derek Luke.
Yeah.
That's a Bell Calloway and tight leather pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
Not yet.
Lottery Ticket, a 2010 comedy and drama directed by Eric White, stars Bow Wow as Kevin Carson, an ordinary guy living in the projects with a $370 million lottery ticket. Unfortunately, the claim office is closed for a long holiday weekend, and he must keep his good fortune a secret. But the news spreads like wildfire, and Kevin must figure out how to survive those 3 days among the friends, family, and neighbors who all want a piece of the pie. Besides Bow Wow, Lottery Ticket features Brandon T. Jackson, Terry Crews, Tiara Mare, Mike Epps, Notori Naughton, Loretta Devine, Leslie Jones, Charlie Murphy, Keith David, and a vast array of actors that we know and love, directed by Eric White from a screenplay written by Abdul Williams. Lottery Ticket was the choice of Len Webb as we close out Summer 2K here in July here at the Micheaux Mission. Len, how would you like to start our conversation about the film?
Well, I'm going to start by revealing a secret to each and every one of you missionaries. A story that actually has been told before, but we've had new missionaries and they may not have heard this tale, that Lottery Ticket is in fact the secret origin of the Micheaux Mission.
Mm-hmm.
It was back in 2010. I can't remember what the film was, but I was in a movie theater to watch a movie, and I am very diligent about getting to the movie theater early because I like to watch trailers. Sure. I love watching movies, and I like to see the trailers and see what movies I feel like I'm going to be looking forward to coming up next. And again, I can't remember what I was in the theaters to see, but the trailer for Lottery Ticket came up on the screen. And just off the rip, star Bow Wow, an actor at this point now, more so an actor than he was of a rapper, who I was like, okay, Bow Wow is making his move, making his transition into acting. So it looked, all right, this might be a silly little black movie to check out.
Mm-hmm.
And as that trailer went on, now mind you, this is 2010. This is before the advent of the 3-minute trailer, because now trailers are almost 3 minutes long. Right. But the trailer for Lottery Ticket, it felt to me as if this was 5 minutes long. And it felt that way to me because this trailer, I could tell, told the entire story of the movie.
Sure.
The trailer starts with, introducing you to Bow Wow and his character, Kevin, as, this guy living with his grandmother, Loretta Devine. He's got a best friend, Benny, played by Brandon T. Jackson, kind of known in the neighborhood. And lo and behold, he gets a winning lottery ticket and everybody is after him for the money.
Sure.
Right. And what is he going to do with the money? He's got women coming on to him, Tiara Mari coming on to him. He's got some nefarious guys that are after him for the dough. And you've got the girl next door, that, hey, you should be doing right. And that's Notori Naughton. You also got from the trailer that he's going to have the question about which way do I go? What do I do with this money? And then a grizzled old veteran comes and gives him words of insight. That's played by Ice Cube, before he realizes that, hey, I've got the money, and that means we've all got the money, and he's going to do for the neighborhood. This is from the trailer.
Still the trailer
for the lottery ticket. And it was at that moment that I said, well, I don't need to see this movie.
Because you've seen the trailer.
I've seen the trailer.
Told the whole story.
Saw the whole story. I don't need to see it. In subsequent years, as I returned to the cinema, and in that following year is when I start the Black Tribbles radio show and podcast. Mm-hmm. And I'm really getting into my geekiness and putting that on display and my love of movies on display. And as I'm doing that and I'm being introduced to more and more Black creatives, because, when you're in the geek sphere, you're running up against creatives that are creating their own comic books, that are doing their own films, that are doing their own music projects. Mm-hmm. And, the quality of them are, it's up and down. Sure. But you're giving everybody their shot.
Sure.
And I tell myself, well, you know what? I'm watching this trailer, and Lottery Ticket is the start of 1,000 trailers that I'm seeing that basically are telling the story. Mm-hmm. And while it's not always Black films, it seemed to me that it was a lot of Black films basically gave away the whole story in the trailer, and thus I would not feel moved to watch them. Mm-hmm. And I told myself that, well, I don't think I'm giving them their just due, because one, I recognize that the trailer, more often than not, is not cut by the director. It's not made by the directors, the makers of the film. That usually is made by a totally separate production house, if not the production company, the producer, like the distributor of the film themselves. So sometimes the director doesn't have any say on what is going into the trailer. So, and also, if I'm being true as a creative and I'm asking people to give me a chance, then I should be giving these films a chance.
Absolutely.
And that's when I actually came up with the idea that, I need to, all these films that I'm prejudging based on the trailer, I need to actually go sit and watch them. But I recognized in myself that I needed some type of engine that would make me do this. Mm-hmm. And I came up with the idea of doing a show like the Micheaux Mission, where, hey, we're going to watch every Black film. I first, out of due diligence, I put the idea to my co-hosts on the Black Tribbles as a secondary show project that we could do. They all said, yo, that sounds like a dope idea. I'm good. None of them were, they all bowed out. So then it sat on the shelf a little bit, and in that subsequent time, me and you were developing a friendship, Vincent, and I said, I wonder if Vincent would be interested in doing this with me. And also, in full transparency, I felt like I had a kinship with you, but we were both living our lives, Sure. So I was like, and we were living our lives. I had the Tribbles, I had my life, you had your life, you had your radio show that you were doing, and you had your boys. So I was like, I need a way to, hey, if you'll do this podcast with me, and we can develop as friends.
There you go.
So
lo and behold.
So I said, hey, Vincent, I have an idea. And before I said podcast, Vincent said, oh, yeah, sure. And I said,
I'm a giving person.
I haven't even told you what it is. And he said, I've watched you on Black Tribbles. When you want to do something, I know it's going to be good. I'm down with it. And thus the Micheaux Mission was born. And that is the secret origin.
There you go.
Of the Micheaux Mission. It was born from Lottery Ticket.
And what did you think about the film?
Now, having seen Lottery Ticket, admittedly for the second time.
Okay.
But for the first time really sitting down and watching it. Because the first time I watched it, I know for a fact that I was at somebody's house.
Sure.
And it was kind of like on.
This is almost the platonic ideal of film that is being played in the background, while you're doing something else.
Something else. Yeah. Yes. So this is the first time I really sat down and focused on this film. The trailer does tell the entire story.
Yeah.
Because you're looking for the only part of the trailer that's not in the trailer that is in the movie is the whole idea of the thug guy that is chasing him around the city.
Played by the
Benga Akin Ajbe.
Yes.
I believe that is how you pronounce the name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that.
Yeah. Best known as played Chris on The Wire.
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic actor.
He was.
Yeah.
He was. And playing similar role in this kind of menacing role. That storyline is not in the trailer.
No.
Everything else is in the trailer. And this movie, it's a charming enough movie because as we talked about last week in the what I believe was the first of the Bow Wow Brandon T. Jackson mashups. Roll Bounce. Both actors have a charisma that you want to like them. You enjoy seeing them. They play well together.
They do.
For the most part. Now they're a little bit older, and this is 5 years later. And they're definitely falling into their Ice Cube Chris Tucker-ness in this film. Even though this film is set in Chicago, this film, you very early get the vibe of Ice Cube and Chris Tucker from Friday in the performances and in the friendship that you see between Kevin and Benny in this movie, right? And everyone else is pretty much stereotype. Loretta Devine is is the grandmother who's well,
she's religious.
She's very religious, very into her TV, playing her numbers, watching over her grandson. You've got Notori Norton as the girl next door best friend, but the love interest that should be.
Sure.
You've got Tiara Mari as the love interest that shouldn't be.
Right.
The bit of the local vixen. You've got Charlie Murphy. Charlie Murphy's just playing Charlie Murphy. Like Charlie Murphy is pretty much the same in every one of his movies, and he's always welcome in every one of his movies. Ice Cube maybe playing a little bit against type because he's playing an older older character in this. Mike Epps playing a preacher.
Yeah.
In the long continuing history of Black comedians playing preachers in these Black films dates back all the way to Flip Wilson, Richard Pryor.
That's right.
And now
there will be no joy juice.
Yeah, that's right.
Picnic.
And now Mike Epps actually, to me, putting an interesting spin on that role. Kind of making it his own. Easily could have mocked what came before, but kind of falls into his own lane with it.
Absolutely.
So I appreciated that. Keith David playing the local kingpin of crime in this neighborhood.
Basically the exact same role he played in Barbershop.
Exactly. With Terry Crews as his kind of right-hand man. And Terry Crews, we will learn, is playing type for him. But even though he's having fun with it, as he's like the big tough guy who maybe is a little not quite as tough, maybe a little soft on the inside. Maybe a little bit of a tasty cake inside. So everybody is set up. You know, you got the neighborhood gang of kids who kind of like are kind of tangentially friends with Kevin and Benny, led by a very young Leslie Jones. Well, relatively young Leslie Jones in this film, and Jason Weaver.
Jason Weaver again.
Another welcome addition in this film. We last saw Jason Weaver recently in Drumline.
Did you notice that Terry Crews called them Cosby kids, looking like a bunch of Cosby kids?
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah. So I noticed that T-Pain shows up for a little bit, and that actually is kind of funny in his role. Bill Bellamy, blink, and he's out of the movie, which is perfect for Bill Bellamy.
Perfectly cast, though.
Perfectly cast.
Perfectly cast.
But you know, very welcome to leave this film. It's a charming enough of a movie. Eric Wright is the director of the movie. I would say that the directing leaves little to be desired, and I think the editing is trying to make up for the poor direction, because there's a lot of jump cuts all over the place. There's a lot of ADR.
Well, he's a video director.
Yeah, he's a video director.
You can tell his background.
Yeah, but it doesn't play well with this movie, where you kind of want the camera to be locked in one place, so that we can just enjoy the performances and enjoy people bouncing off one another. Enjoy this story being told to you. It's not a super original story. You know, he wins the $370 million, but he can't cash the ticket until after the July 4th weekend. So now he's holding on to it for 3 days. And in those 3 days, everybody in the world is after him. This is a movie that we talked about from Roll Bounce, again, shot from the, I want to say, because it's so prominent to me now. It's shot from the male gaze in how they shoot Tiara Mari in this film, and the nothing burger that they really give Natari Naughton to play around with in this movie. They don't give her much agency at all. At the end of the day, I wanted to say I like Lottery Ticket. If I can't say that I like Lottery Ticket, the Lottery Ticket is the least fine. Watch Lottery Ticket, you'll like it. But just as you said, it is the quintessential background movie. And by background, I mean that it's that background movie that you kind of like hearing every third, fifth word.
You look up every now and then.
You look up every now and then. Oh, it's still on. And you go back to what you're doing. I actually watched this movie, and the first thing in my mind, I'm thinking, boy, you know, Bow Wow's not bad in this movie, but there's a part of me that wants to see Jason Weaver in his role. Because he actually has some funny moments in this movie that actually made me laugh. The only time I laughed in this movie, I realized it was because of something Jason Weaver did. Brandon T. Jackson, who definitely has the charisma, definitely looks like a star in the making, even at this, you know, relatively young age. But he is definitely trying to channel his Chris Tucker in this movie, and to me, that's not playing to his strengths. What I read, he did a lot of his own ad libs in this movie.
Go
and
ahead.
it shows.
Look,
and he's not a comedian; he's an actor, and as a young actor, he's a young actor,
right?
And it just doesn't wear well in this film, and he doesn't do himself any favors. There are a couple scenes where he seems to be leaning more on the script, and he gets them over. There's definitely the screen on the rooftop where, you know, he has to come at Kevin because he seemingly doesn't trust him, because Kevin doesn't feel like he trusts anybody around him. And not hard to imagine when you're sitting around with the winning ticket, $270 million. That is a scene that comes across. He's good in that scene. It's a well done scene.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't happen until you're just about at the end of the film. And you're sitting through a lot to get there. And at the end of the day, I can't say that I liked Lottery Ticket.
I think the most important thing about Lottery Ticket is that this is a film that Ice Cube produced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the most important, because for a first-time director and for a screenwriter who did not have a lot of experience prior to this film, there's absolutely no way this film should have the caliber of the cast.
Okay, yeah, that's Cube.
Like, and certainly the vast majority of the cast, whether we're talking about Ice Cube himself,
Mm-hmm.
whether we're talking about Mike Epps, whether we're talking about Keith David and Loretta Devine, you got the sense that they're kind of doing Ice Cube a solid.
Mm-hmm.
You got me for 2 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
You got me for 2, maybe 3 scenes. And it is almost part of, I would say that this is a film that plays well in the background, but this is also a film that is almost tailor-made, speaking of Instagram, to see clips from.
Yep.
You know, you just cut out little vignettes from it. As you said, the story is barely a storyline. It's you know, I do think the complication of the office isn't open until after the holiday. I'll give you credit for that. Like,
yeah.
I like that as a complication. But as far as the narrative itself, it's just not there. And the best you can say about this film is that you can jump from moment to moment and say, okay, well, this particular moment I'm enjoying. You know, as you said, Charlie Murphy comes out. He's Charlie Murphy for about, in the entire film, maybe 7-8 minutes. And that's your Charlie Murphy 7-8 minutes. But I think a film like this, you need someone to take you from moment to moment.
Yeah, you need that guy.
You need that guy. It's sort of been ambient in our conversation since the beginning of the Micheaux Mission, and we were talking about it last week. I always think about something like Uptown Saturday Night, which in my mind is the pinnacle of these
type of movies,
of this form.
Yep.
But the thing about that is that you go from moment to moment, and of course you have Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby, and they hold it together. I like Brandon T. Jackson. And much like you, I think Brandon T. Jackson is very talented, and I think he has good moments in here. But even before I read that he had did a lot of ad-libbing,
you could tell.
I could tell, because as much as I am fond of Bow Wow, he cannot match Brandon T. Jackson's energy in here. And I can tell Jackson is trying to pull something out of him. And I don't know what happened or didn't happen in the 5 years between Roll Bounce and this film, but that spark that Bow Wow has,
you see it
in
slipping.
Roll Bounce, I just don't see it in this.
Yeah.
And because that's not there,
the
chemistry's not there, which means that the House of Cards kind of collapses.
Because he is supposed to be the guy.
He's the central guy. He's the guy. I don't even know if I could rise to the point of saying I like it or dislike it. Like, it really is a film that's just sort of there. Like I know for a fact that I've seen that Mike Epps scene with him as the preacher giving his, I know I've seen that scene and didn't even know it came from Lottery Ticket. Much like you, I think you move Jason Weaver into more of a central role. You got something happening. Again, I think Jason Weaver is a very underappreciated talent.
I know.
And hasn't done anything. You're in bad territory, whereas you said Jason Weaver and Leslie Jones are part of this almost chorus that sits around. Every time Brandon T. Jackson and Bow Wow came and they kind of converged with the chorus, when they left, I wanted the camera to stay with them.
Yeah.
Because, when they say, when you win the lottery, would you buy a helicopter or a car? And I was like, I really want to hear this. Like, I want to hear this debate because there's energy there. There's this camaraderie. There is chemistry between the actors.
Yes.
Even at this point, like you said, Leslie Jones is young in her career, but you can tell she already has comedic chops. Like she's, and I've said this before, I love Leslie Jones the most when she's just with black people. Like there's this weird energy she has with white people that I want her, like, like I think about her in something like Top 5, which I loved her in. And I think you get that here. I have to say the one thing I did kind of take notes of, and I nodded my head. I said, yeah, this is a real black movie. The plot detail that working at Foot Locker is a poison chalice. I said, yeah, that's real black right there.
That's real.
Because I have never, ever known anyone who worked at Athlete's Foot or Foot Locker that it didn't end up being a cluster F by the end. Would be, can I get a discount? Can I do this? You sneaking shoes out the back. This, that is like, working at Foot Locker is not the move.
Yeah.
But the fact that I was spending time thinking about that meant that that's not time that I'm invested in the movie. Like I spent like 10 minutes sitting remembering the misadventures of people I know who worked at Foot Locker when I was in high
Lottery
school.
Ticket played in the background.
While Lottery Ticket played in the background. It's pleasant enough. Like you're not going to turn it off. Like it's not terrible, but it's also not something that's going to pull your attention. And much like we talked about with Charles Stone the third, it's a shame because while certainly I don't think the direction is great, like you could tell he kind of had this video background. I don't think anything was so egregious in here that he couldn't have got another shot. And this group of actors at this moment, that we've now spent 2 or 3 movies with, Jason Weaver, Brandon T. Jackson, Naturi Naughton, who I like a lot. I think they should have made 3 or 4 movies. Like I think, I kind of grouped this also with ATL.
Okay.
Which is another film that ultimately the stakes are fairly low. It's not the greatest. I think it's better than both Roll Bounce and Lottery Ticket.
Yes.
But
ATL,
it's, it's not Eve's Bayou.
No. Well, no. Eve's Bayou, I mean, that's a...
Yeah, my point is, like, I don't think anyone is sitting around saying, oh, ATL, that changed everything. But, solid movie. And I'm a fan of the black solid movie. So, it's Lottery Ticket.
Only thing I'll push back
it
on
prompted you to want to have a podcast. So
it did. It did. So it did that.
Right.
The only thing I'll push back on a little bit is in regards to Eric White's direction, because I think the music video style editing that is done in this movie, I think it is done purposefully to hide some of his mistakes.
Okay.
And I think his mistakes are rather numerous because there are moments where people are talking, they're off screen and they're delivering, important dialogue. There's a moment where a character is punched and they go flying off a screen, like one of those, you see the guy flying. And then when he lands, the camera is stuck on like his midsection, but not in any type of way that is trying to draw your attention.
Sure.
It's just the camera's in the wrong spot. And I think there are multiple moments like that, that the editing hides. And that's the type of stuff that if you are using this as your resume to get another film job, the people that know are looking at it like, I don't know, and I think, and I think that may have.
I ain't gonna fight you about lottery ticket.
Well, no, because it got us here.
Right. Yes. It is always nice to see Loretta Devine. Like I said, I like the moments.
You know what? Okay, I'm glad you brought up Loretta Devine.
Okay.
Because my introduction to Loretta Devine, and I don't know if this is the same for everybody else, but my introduction to Loretta Devine was on A Different World.
Okay.
Right? Because she plays the house mother.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
At least that's my introduction to her. Right? And I
thought you saw Dreamgirls. I thought you were one of my original Dreamgirls.
No, I never saw the original Dreamgirls.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
I didn't see the original. And in Different World, when I saw her in A Different World, admittedly, she, this is talking about more than a few years ago, so she was a much younger woman. But in there, she showed the comedic chops.
Absolutely.
She definitely showed her comedic acting. But she also showed a little bit of, she was a sexy woman. Her sexuality was on display.
Yes.
It was a part of her character to a degree. Not oversexed or any type of way, but she was, it was there. And it seems to me that she quickly became very matronly.
Yes.
And started playing older than herself or more of the not even not the downtrodden best friend, but just like the okay best friend.
Yeah.
In films and even on other TV.
Yeah, and then very quickly she kind of eased into mama roles.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always thought, one, that was a shame.
Sure.
And a waste of her talent. But also I found that even in sliding into the mama roles, those still weren't roles that challenged her and didn't bring out the best in her work. And to my eye, I didn't see her trying to do anything different with it.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about our girl, Jennifer Lewis, who, also kind of unfortunately followed that same track. But you could see with her, whenever she was given a role, I always got the impression she was trying to find something to make of it, to do something with it, regardless of what the job was. Now, she may have been a little bit more discerning about her roles than Loretta Devine for one reason or another. Who's to say? But that seemed to be what I was seeing, and that's always in the back of my mind bothered me a little bit about Loretta Devine, because I want to like her in these roles, but I don't always see her giving her best shot.
No. I think a lot of it is you take the job that you can get.
True. But then
I'm not going to say it's unfair to compare her to Jennifer Lewis. I think Jennifer Lewis is such a unique figure, because she is someone that somehow, and I'm thinking of her role in something like The Preacher's Wife, or even to a certain degree, What's Love Got to Do with It, where she is clearly a matronly mother. It is always something sexy about her. And I don't know if it's something that is part of her performance or is something about her.
I would contend that it's her performance. I would contend that's her putting that in the role.
Just in every role.
Well,
so like I'm the preacher's wife, I'm the mother of Whitney Houston, and I'm just the mama, like I'm chastising the angel that's flirting with my, like there's nothing more matronly than the preacher's wife, but it's some energy coming off of her.
I have to say that in The Preacher's Wife, I didn't necessarily see the sexy energy that you're talking about. I mean, she's a good looking woman, but I didn't see that energy there.
I'm saying that because that energy, her matron roles
play a little different,
are always a little bit more complicated.
Okay.
You know, and I agree with you about Loretta Devine. And I think part of it is oftentimes, Loretta Devine is a little bigger than what we expect from a leading woman. So then there's that. I do think there's something about her bearing that oftentimes reads older. But
there's that. Yeah, but then don't mean to stop you. But think about Mabel King. Definitely had a more of a bearing.
I don't think Mabel King could exist in a modern context, and I think Mabel King also
really.
Yeah. There's absolutely there's absolutely right. Don't even get me distracted about this and go into my Mabel King on what's happening rant. There's absolutely no way whatsoever Mabel King could have existed, and it wasn't Mabel King. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you an example why.
Okay, because maybe I misunderstand what you're saying.
I'm saying a woman her size, a woman who is a mother,
right?
A woman who is also fully sexualized.
Right.
That combination,
right?
I think that's just Mabel King. And part of the reason I say that is because they tried to duplicate it with Nell Carter. And it always came off as trying too hard.
Well, I think that, quiet as kept, I think that's also just a difference in the actors. Because Mabel King is a hell of an actor. And Nell Carter was a Nell Carter.
But they 100% were going for that energy with Nell Carter.
I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that, but okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I actually like Loretta Devine in here, regardless of, I think she's a little playful. I think she's a little, what I really like her as the matriarch, another film that I guess we'll get to eventually. She plays this role in Jumping the Broom. But it's got a little edge to it that worked really well, if I remember.
Did I see Jumping the Broom? I think I may have seen it. I don't remember.
It's actually my man from The Boys. It's Mother's Milk. It's Mother's Milk.
Oh yeah.
And Paula
Patton.
Paula Patton.
Maybe I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to it. We'll have to check it out.
Right. But once again, as the lottery ticket plays in the background, we're talking about other things. So I guess we should go ahead and do the formal part of the show. Would you recommend Lottery Ticket?
I would not. Okay. I would not recommend Lottery Ticket. I can't. Right. How about you?
I don't think I would. I don't think there's no reason to watch Lottery Ticket.
I don't think you're missing anything.
I mean, hell, watch Roll Bounce again.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Good time.
All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for our review of Lottery Ticket. Before we tell you what's going to be coming your way for August here on the Micheaux Mission, I invite you to hit us up on a social media of your choice, whether or not it be Instagram, X or Facebook at Micheaux Mission. Let us know what is on your mind. You can also join the Facebook group where we have lots of conversations with all of our missionaries. You can also find us on YouTube. Hit that bell so you can subscribe. You can hit the bell to be notified when we put up new videos, new shorts. And you can also tell a friend so that we can grow our numbers on our YouTube channel. The Micheaux Mission is also streams every Tuesday at 7 p.m. from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. If you want to book your podcast or your video podcast in one of the many studios that are housed by the many Dylans here at YUNKJunk, you can reach out to our Dylan. He's the head Dylan in charge, the HDIC, DYLAN at YUNKJunk.com. And he will gladly hook you up. The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcast work such as ours, which will be returning next week for August. And August is for action.
Oh, yeah.
All month long, we are going to be rocking out with action. It kicks things off August 1st with The Last Dragon at Bryn Mawr Film Institute, our big screening. And then next week here on the Micheaux Mission, Vincent and I will be joined by our good friend Mike Dennis.
Yes.
Of Real Black.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As we sit down to review Riverbend.
Yeah.
A recovered classic.
Yep.
From 1990, starring the gone too soon Steve James.
Steve James.
Riverbend. Next week here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len, and in parting, we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.
YUNKJunk!